Memorable holidays. As a child, my favorite holiday was Thanksgiving. Now as a grandma, it is Christmas. Over the years, Easter always was meaningful to me as well. But I'm writing about Thanksgiving. I was born in 1945. I spent my school years in Inwood, Iowa. I attended a small school, the Inwood Christian School. I was in a class of only 7. Before the Thanksgiving break, we worked on skits and poems and songs, picked scripture verses for our Thanksgiving program for our parents and grandparents. We decorated the room with our crafts and artwork, pilgrims, turkeys, and colorful leaves. I just loved the history of the Pilgrims, our founding fathers. Could be debated, but the gritty determination it took to leave their home country, to build a life from scratch with so little. And they relied on the goodwill of the Indians and others who were already here. Our Thanksgiving program consisted of the great old hymns of the faith. Come thou fount of every blessing, we gather together, and others. It was the faith of my fathers and grandfathers, parents and grandparents. I loved the costumes, the Indian headbands, the colorful feathers. The poems and the skits were humorous and serious. The principal always opened with prayer and closed in prayer, thanking God for the crops and the bountiful or not so bountiful crops. All provisions were from his almighty hand. The nourishments afterward, refreshments were served by our parents. We all looked forward to the treats, the Kool-Aid and decorated cookies, with a little extra time to play on the playground while the parents chatted with each other and our teachers. Now time to hurry home, change clothes, and do chores because we had a lot to prepare for the family dinner the next day. After AM services at our church, the Inwood Christian Reformed Church, we'd hurry home again, do our noon chores, and drive over to Rock Rapids, Iowa for dinner with Uncle Dick and Aunt Jeanette Bauman, Dennis, Carol, and Roger. Aunt Jeanette was my dad, Ed Buckenstein's sister. Aunt Jeanette was a fabulous, refined cook. She had more of the finesse of a trained hostess. The table was always set beautifully with her specialty china that she had bought over the years from the Jewel Company, I believe it was. Very pretty dinnerware, and it had a colorful fall theme. She used pretty napkins that fit the occasion and had all of the added touches. Cinnamon-flavored apple rings, a delicious gelatin salad topped with a cooked frosting made with pineapple juice. Everything seemed to have an added touch, which was not the everyday fare of a very busy farm wife and mother. When it was our year to host the party, especially as I got older and was taking home economics at Inwood Public High, I tried to incorporate some of Aunt Jeanette's extra touches in our meal. My favorite addition was a home yeast-raised braided bread with cinnamon and nuts, similar to the popular monkey bread that I make with my grandchildren today. Only today I use the Pillsbury canned biscuit dough. I always loved to bake, so some of these more exotic treats were fun for me. After I married Frank Niblink, his favorite was my Betty Crocker-inspired maple nut cake, moist and full of flavor. Another memorable addition to our Thanksgiving dinner was my brother Edwin's farm-raised free-range ducks and geese, an interesting and palate-pleasing change from our farm-raised chickens. They were delicious and full of flavor, but I had to try because I love to try new things and still do. For the fowl to hang around our Iowa farm was fun for us kids. The only other time we saw ducks and geese in Iowa were when they flew overhead in their V-shaped pattern in the fall on their trip south. After filling our tummies with mashed potatoes, usually green beans and carrots or other vegetables, the meat of choice, Aunt Jeanette often did buy turkeys at the larger supermarket in Rock Rapids. The best homemade gravy, added size of sweetened dill pickles, fried or pickled onions. We topped it all off with 3 or 4 kinds of pies. My favorite was lemon with Mile High meringue. Dad's was coconut cream, of course, and if I remember right, everybody loved pumpkin and apple. Apple trees were common in our area, some pear trees as well, but all the other fruits were brought in from other states. We spent the afternoon sledding and building forts since we usually had snow. When we got cold, we would come in and our moms would dry our clothes by the old wood stove and we'd play games, play with our dolls, or just run around until the adults told us to stop. Quiet down. Thanksgiving always has fond memories for me.